Hello there guys, gals, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Leipalarden, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about Halo Infinite, who would have guessed, and in particular the content roadmap that seems to be brought up a lot in interviews and the Waypoint blog posts for Inside Infinite. If last week we were looking at Infinite's content at launch, this week we're looking further into the future, and hopefully in a more positive light as well. As of my time recording this video, we don't have much of an insight into the stuff that will be coming our way once Infinite launches on December 8th, aside from the tri-monthly release of new seasons to add content to the game's battle pass, the inclusion of co-op campaign, which will likely be coming in March of 2022, and Forge, which will be sometime around the midway point of next year as well. So today I thought it might be fun to theorize what we could see coming to Halo Infinite. As it's being touted as a live service game with a supposed decade's worth of content coming our way, what kind of new additions and changes could Halo players have to look forward to? So let's start at the beginning. Campaign is arguably the mode that we know the least about. Aside from what we've been shown in the trailers, we don't know specifically how the campaign will work, though it is likely to be a semi-open world game with elements of exploration and potentially side quests. Freeing groups of Marines from banished encampments or completing assassination missions will contribute to your arsenal of gear throughout the game and open more UNSC bases for you to acquire gear and weapons. This gives the player more choice in how they will approach the usual linear campaign missions like we've seen in previous Halo titles, allowing you to bring a custom loadout and an array of equipment to your next battle. At least, that's what I'm gathering from what we've seen so far. How long the campaign will be and how it will end are anyone's guess at this point, but I think it's safe to say that Halo Infinite's story will likely end on a cliffhanger that will tease the eventual release of story DLC and future content.
Sir, finishing this fight.
God damn it! God damn it! God! Oh!
Given Infinite's 10-year life cycle, I think this is a relatively safe bet and that we'll see the continued story of Master Chief and the weapon in a follow-up story. I doubt we'll have to wait another 10 years for the next chapter in the Halo universe and to hear the wonderful voices of Steve Downes and Jen Taylor.
You look nice.
Thank you.
With so much of a focus placed on the Banished's new leader Escharum and making him out to seem like the big bad of the game, my bet is that 343 will save the best for later and we'll see the arrival of Atriox in this new DLC story. And maybe the formation of an alliance with the crew of the Spirit of Fire, as their stories were left unresolved after the events of Halo Wars 2. I think given how long it took 343 Industries to make this new, vast open world for us to explore in Infinite's campaign, I think it's more likely that we'll see a slightly linear progression of missions like older Halo titles. It could potentially also be a way to backpedal a bit if people don't take too kindly to the new semi-open world approach. Something else I've also noticed extensively about Infinite's marketing is the emphasis placed on your Spartan and their canonicity in Halo's story. I have a sneaking suspicion that 343 are looking to do a retread of what we saw in Halo Reach over 10 years prior, where players were allowed to bring their Spartan from multiplayer into campaign as the newest member of Noble Team to varying degrees of hilarity.
Commander.
So that's our new number 6.
Hi, how are you?
Similar to that, I think it's completely possible that we could see our own Spartans from Infinite's multiplayer appear as characters in a story DLC, potentially focusing on another part of the galaxy away from Zeta Halo. This could also be a good way to show the state of the galaxy after Cortana's AI uprising and potentially reintroduce the Prometheans into the fray, as, so far, they haven't been seen at all in Infinite's marketing. Despite how much everyone hated fighting them in Halos 4 and 5, I think there's a chance that they could prove to be more interesting enemies on their own when not being compared to and fighting alongside similar counterparts from the ranks of the Covenant. This then leads us to multiplayer. Not talking about cosmetics and stuff in the Battle Pass, I think Halo Infinite's multiplayer is likely to see the largest number of new additions and changes over the years. At launch, we'll see the inclusion of all the standard 4v4 modes, Big Team Battle 2.0, hopefully we won't have to wait several months for Infection like Halo 5, and presumably action-sack game types like Fiesta will be in there from day one. I think that Infinite should look back at previous Halo games to get a better understanding of what game types should be added in future. The big one that comes to mind for everyone is likely going to be Invasion from Halo Reach. This mode was an absolute classic and arguably one of the best things to come out of Halo Reach. One team was tasked with defending an objective, whilst the other team would have to push through, secure areas, and then advance to the next stage until eventually being able to steal a memory core or complete one final objective to win the game. While there won't be playable elites in Infinite at launch, I don't think the mode needs them to work. Having it be Spartans versus Spartans is fine as well, just so long as we get the mode at some point. I think the linear progression of Invasion made it unique compared to other game modes in Halo. I can imagine it being even more fun and chaotic, with the player cap increased to 24. Another mode that many look back on fondly was Extraction, a mode that only appeared in Halo 4 and saw two teams fighting to extract whatever these things are. I really don't, I guess they're crates, sort of, I don't know. But you extract them to earn points. It was kind of like a cross between Territories and Search and Destroy from Call of Duty, just without the singular life. The good thing about Extraction is that it's a mode with a lot of flexibility. You can expand it to facilitate the 24-player count, or keep it to 4v4, or, better yet, and don't worry 343, you don't have to pay me in royalties for this one, turn it into a multi-team game mode. Imagine the chaos of there being 4 different teams on a small map, all fighting to try and extract these targets. The third partying would be absolutely insane, but could make for some really interesting battles, to say the least. Speaking of Halo 4, Dominion is another mode that I'd like to see return in Infinite at some point. The idea of capturing a base, and the longer you hold it, the more gets added to it, like automated turrets, weapon and vehicle spawns, etc., I think was a good concept that, with a little more refining, could become a fan favorite mode. Incorporating elements from Warzone... No, not that one. You can right off. Yes, that Warzone. Incorporating elements from Warzone like friendly and enemy AI, defending the bases could be really cool as well. And totally not another excuse to put AI in Forge as well. Totally not. And finally, Breakout, a fan favorite mode from Halo 5 that saw 2 teams going head to head in a Slayer type match with 1 life each. Whoever has the most people standing at the end of the match in the team wins that round. We've seen a rise in popularity in one-life modes like Modern Warfare 2019 and Black Ops Cold War's gunfight modes. But what could make a return to Breakout even more interesting is a tournament system. The team that wins the match goes on to play against another team that won another match. Eventually the losing teams get whittled down till one team rises to the top and wins the tournament. However, you'd want there to be some good incentives for winning the mode, like an armor set or something. Like Halo 3, getting to a certain rank that gives you a set of armor that you could wear with pride, knowing that you are the better player and that you work towards it, as opposed to just grinding for it like many Halo games are falling into the trappings of doing since Reach. I think this mode could prove to be great amongst esport and competitive players, and can allow for some great rewards for those that win the tournaments. Moving forward, I also believe that Infinite should have a party games playlist in a similar vein to Call of Duty's. Something distinct from Action Sack, or maybe even bundle them together, that features a ton of casual game types that wouldn't have an impact on your KD ratio and would be there purely for fun. Until we get Forge, and by extension decent custom games, I think this would be a good way to hold the casual players over. Gun game, or Escalation Slayer, sorry. One in the chamber, melee weapons only, clue or imposter, some fun little side modes that you can play along with your mates and take a break from the sweatiness of normal multiplayer. Party games in Black Ops 1 and 2 were some of the most fun I've ever had in an FPS game, so bringing that over to Halo Infinite, I think, can be nothing but good news. And finally, this is the big one, just don't sharpen your pitchforks quite yet, it's quite contentious, but Battle Royale. I know, listen, just chill out, okay? I know this is a massive point of discussion in the Halo community, and opinions seem to be split almost right down the middle, with one camp firmly hating it and saying that Halo should set trends, not follow them, and another saying that, you know, they wouldn't mind seeing what type of twist Halo could bring to the BR formula. I honestly don't think it would hurt to see what a Halo Battle Royale mode would be like, and as someone who has spent way too much time editing a video talking about why it would be a great idea, subscribe so you can catch that video the moment it comes out, I'd personally like to see it happen, even if it is just to appeal to a wider audience of people who maybe don't like or have never played Halo, but are familiar with the BR genre. Also, it totally leaked, but you didn't hear that from me. Something else that might possibly have leaked, but not really, is the inclusion of new weaponry in Halo Infinite, particularly the M60 Magnum, which was mentioned in a Spartan cosplay guide made by 343. We've also heard rumblings of the classic Halo pump shoddy making a return post-launch, and this has me thinking, what other classic Halo weapons and even vehicles could we see coming to the game post-launch? so far in Infinite, we have the Sidegeek Pistol, Assault Rifle, Battle Rifle, VK-78 Commando, Bulldog Shotgun, Hydra, Rocket Launcher, Sniper Rifle, Needler, Plasma Pistol, Pulse Carbine, Mangler, Ravager, Shock Rifle, Scrap Cannon, Skewer, Stalker Rifle, Energy Sword, Gravity Hammer, and the Sentinel Beam. So, there's still plenty of room for new weapons to be added, especially ones from older games. Personally, I'd love to see the Banished take on a Plasma Rifle or Plasma Repeater. I think the Plasma Repeater is a grossly underpowered weapon in Reach, and I would love to see it redeemed in some way. The SMG, whether that's suppressed or not, I don't particularly mind, I just want my boy the bullet hose back in the game. I also think I'd be hard-pressed not to mention the Brute Shot. The weapon allowed for some great plays in combining it with jumping to allow you to reach certain platforms and vantage points that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to get to with your normal jump, and I think the melee damage is something that should definitely be buffed, especially considering its unique role as a rifle.
Is that a knife? Rifle? Rifle?
Well, that ought to buy us some time.
From Halo 4, I would love to see the Sticky Detonator make its return. Much like the Brute Shot, the Sticky Det was a very sandboxy weapon that allowed you to do a lot with it. You could leave it in a walkway or a choke point and detonate it when someone got close. You could stick it on your teammate's head and watch them run into a squad of enemies and reap the rewards of your 300 IQ plays, leave it on a vehicle and wait for someone to go into it, or you could just shoot it at people like an ordinary person. That works too.
Now, what else? What else? Goggles!
Point is, there was a lot to love about the Sticky Det, and I think it'd be a shame to not see it return at some point. I think it's undeniable that we'll be seeing the Spartan laser added to the game, as it's been in every Halo game since Halo 3, and honestly, would not mind seeing the Saw make a return either. It's kind of just a better assault rifle, but it was a fun weapon when you got it nonetheless. And here's the curveball for you. The machete. No, I am not capping here. Halo almost had a machete. In early versions of Combat Evolved, you can see Master Chief wielding one. Originally intended to be the human equivalent of the energy sword, but was kind of superseded in the sandbox by the shotgun. I think it's about time we got to see a human melee weapon in a Halo game other than your knife and, well, a golf club. In terms of vehicles, Infinite's vehicle sandbox feels quite small to me now and has a big focus on single occupancy only vehicles. In my opinion, the best vehicles in Halo are the ones that require a team to operate them or utilize that vehicle's full capabilities, like the turret on the Warthog, for example, and there needing to be a driver as well, so you're not just a stationary gun. So far we know of the Warthog being in the game, along with the troop transport and rocket variants, the Razorback, which is an armored version of the Warthog. We have the Scorpion tank, Mongoose, Wasp, Chopper, Ghost, Wraith, and Banshee. So far these vehicles all seem kinda boring to me. Nothing against them, they're all classics, and I doubt it'd be Halo without half of them, but I think a few more vehicles wouldn't go astray. The Falcon from Halo Reach, absolute fan favorite. Not seeing it return would be a huge missed opportunity. I'd also love to see the Mantis in a game at some point, and you know what? I think we need to give the Halo Wars game some love. I think a lot of die-hard Halo fans would froth at the chance to see some of these vehicles from Halo Wars 1 and 2 finally be playable in a first-person setting. The Wolverine, Cobra, Kodiak, Cyclops, Vampire, Locust, and so much more. And I mean, we are fighting the Banished after all, so it makes sense to have vehicles from Halo Wars 2 carry over into Halo Infinite. And finally, the thing that is arguably most important to me, a custom games browser. First seen in Halo 5, a customs browser allows you to skip the annoying part of setting up custom games by having to get enough people and sending out invites, so instead you can just jump right into a server or set one up yourself for everyone to see. With no Forge at launch, I doubt there will be much of a point for there to be a customs browser on day one, so I'd like to see it added to the game alongside Forge when that drops. And can we not wait over a year for it to be added like the Master Chief Collection? Great, cheers, thank you. Aside from that, Assassinations I feel like are bound to be making a return at some point, and boy, playable elites. I don't think I need to say how much these mean to so many players. Handling them similarly to Halo Reach, where you can only use them in certain game types, I'd be absolutely fine with. We just gotta get them eventually.
Damn, boy! Damn, boy! He's sick, boy!
Or maybe, playable brutes? So, those are my thoughts on what we could potentially see added to Halo Infinite during its life cycle. Though, as a 10-year live service game, I have no doubt that there will be far more added to it as time goes on, and that I've barely scratched the surface of this iceberg in terms of what 343 have planned for this game in the future. What would you like to see added to Halo Infinite? Let me know in the comments section down below. I am very keen to strike up some discussions and conversations with people. I'm just getting started with this channel with plenty more content on the way, including video essays, opinion pieces, other scripted content like this, and even some funny edits. So if you enjoyed this video and want to see more content from me, feel free to drop a like and a subscription, and I also stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/Lapelarden, so you can chuck me a follow there. You wouldn't. You're way scared.